Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ramo Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Haribo Oh Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ramo 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 Oh Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Haribo. Oh Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jaya Gaura. Gaura Hey, 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 Gaura Hey. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Oh Jaya Radha, Gopinata Radha, Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shishi Guru Garanga Ganhavi Vikri Hari Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Oma Stotara Shishi Machila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Oma Stotara Shishi Machila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Oma Stotara Shishi Machila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Oma Stotara Shishi Machila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Mahabhagavat Shila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupa Nukavarayate. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Oma Stotara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions and millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, and all our Rupanuga Guru Vargya, my Dandavat pranams. To all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, Dandavat pranams. So, carrying on with our study of Jaiva-Dharma, and we'll again hear the foul Shruti. So, last 5 verses. Jaiva-Dharma pateshe shura bhakti hoy, Jaiva-Dharma napalile kabe bhakti noy. One who reads Jaiva-Dharma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shuddha Bhakti. But one who does not read Jaiva-Dharma can never attain Bhakti. Why is it saying this? This is not like a sectarian thing. It's because all the precepts of Bhakti are within the pages here. This is the condensed Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the condensed Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's the condensed Bhagavad Gita. So all of the ontological truths are here about the process of bhakti. So if you're not wanting to read this Jaiva-Dharma, how can you attain bhakti? How can you attain devotion? Devotion is a very clear path. It's not a speculative path. It's not like some will do this and some will do that. Bhakti is like one. Bhakti, that devotion to Krishna, that way to reach Krishna. If you're trying to reach Krishna and say you're in another religion, but you don't know who is God, how can you perform devotional service? Say in the Christian faith, it's very wonderful.
But where is the description of God himself? If we want to perform devotion, that means I have to love that personality of the Supreme Lord. But if there's no clear description of his form, his qualities, his pastimes, then how can I actually develop a relationship with that person? It's like in Islam also. You're not even allowed to have a picture of Allah. So how can you develop a relationship? So how possibly can devotional service manifest? Bhakti means devotion. How can devotion go forward unless we know who we're devoted to? It has no meaning. So therefore, unless we embrace this teaching of Jaiva-Dharma, we cannot perform devotional service. Understand? I'm saying this because one person was questioning, why do we say the Falshruti all the time? And some people, some religious faiths might not agree with this, but that doesn't matter. We're not trying to reach all faiths. If all faiths want the truth, they will be inspired to come to this scripture. If they're sincere, it's always sincerity. That is the key point. If it's about God, and if this Vedic scripture is describing who is God, where is God, who are his parents, where does he live, what does he eat, what does he do all day, his activities, who are his friends, what is the nature of his relationships. This is where the consciousness of the devotee completely absorbs his mind. What is Krishna doing at this time? Now it's just after 5 o'clock.
Returning from
Shyam, yes, this Shyam Leela. Krishna is returning Goduli. This is the most beautiful time. The Brijbasis, all of them have been in great anxiety. Even the little calves are in anxiety. The ones who didn't go out with Krishna in the day, the small cows, they're waiting for Krishna to come. They're not waiting for their mothers to come back. They're waiting for Krishna to come back. It's Krishna that they're attracted to. And all the mothers of Vrindavan, when all the cowherd boys first come into the village, where do they run? They run first to Krishna. So this is inspiring devotion to Krishna. If you don't hear about these pastimes, if you don't have any idea who is God, where he lives, etc., how can this heart of devotion develop? It's not possible. All the cowherd men even, they're all waiting to see Krishna. Everyone is affected by the beauty and sweetness and speciality, especially the gopis. The gopis, they feel like one moment is like a millennium when they're separated from Krishna. Even when they look at Krishna, when he returns and their eyes blink, they think, oh, that foolish Lord Brahma, why he make our eyes blink? We can't see him all the time. How strong is their love? When we read these descriptions of the devotion of the Brijbasis, then we can become inspired ourselves to perform devotional service following the Brijbasis, but not just all the Brijbasis, but the gopis. We are in Gopi Bhav, we are in that line. That is the line of our Guru Parampara. All of our personalities coming from Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das, Jiva Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj, Narottam, Srinivas, Shyamananda, Baladev, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, all Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all coming in this same line of worshipping the gopis. So this is our desire to absorb this mood of Braj. And in the 38th chapter of this book, the entire Astakalya Lila, the eightfold pastimes of the day, is described in detail. In the 38th chapter, you can read clearly. First of all, Lord Shiva, he's speaking, or Narad is speaking, and then Lord Shiva begins to speak, and then Brinda Devi is speaking. All three of them are speaking to Narad, actually. They're describing these pastimes. So this Astakalya Lila is very specific about inspiring our hearts towards Vrindavan. Why has Mahaprabhu come? He's come to give Bhakti Ras. And where is Bhakti Ras churning? It's in the kingdom of Vrindavan. It's Madhurya Dham. In Dwarka, this is Aishwarya Dham. In Dwarka, they all see Krishna as the Supreme Lord or as Supersoul. They all see him as a great prince, a great personality in Dwarka. All are worshipping with great reverence. Krishna is defeating so many huge demons. They are all seeing this and they're all glorifying him. He has 16,108 queens. So this is, and it has all these palaces in this incredible kingdom of Dwarka in the middle of the ocean. So they're worshipping him with that great awe and reverence. But in Vrindavan, they're just flowers and cows and trees. The gopis are worshipping him with. But so much mood of devotion. They care so much about Krishna's welfare. Whereas in Dwarka, they're always asking for something from Krishna. Give us your mercy, Krishna. But in Vrindavan, they think that Krishna depends on them. They have to feed Krishna. They have to nurture Krishna. This is the dynamic between Aishwarya Dham and Madhurya. This Madhurya Dham is so special. And this is what, specifically, Mahaprabhu has come to open this door wide at this most fallen time in Kali Yuga. Only once in the day of Lord Brahma. 8,640,000,000 years. This is the length of the day and the night of Lord Brahma. And only once does Krishna come, 5,000 years ago, and then once Mahaprabhu comes to tell us who was Krishna. No one knows who was Krishna. They're not clear on the nature of Krishna, especially the love that Krishna has with his intimate associates, the gopis. Not even Mother Yashoda knows this. Not even Nanda Baba knows this. But Uddhav knows this to some degree. Uddhav is not there while Krishna is there, but he's there to hear the hearts of the gopis. Why does Krishna leave the gopis there? For 100 years he leaves them. And their separation mood is so heart-melting. He wants to show the whole world the glory of these Brajadevis. We say this beautiful verse, Aradayo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam. Who is the Supreme Lord? He is that son of Nanda Baba in Vrindavan. And the second line, Ramya Kachit Upasana Braja Vardur Vargena Vakalpite. Who shows the most upasana, the most worship? It's the Braja Ramanis of Vrindavan. They are the ones who are showing the most devotion in existence. So if we want bhakti, if bhakti is our goal, if devotion is the goal, where else will you find it except in Vrindavan? And all these moods of Vrindavan, they have to be, for us, sadhaks, supported by tattva. The gopis, they don't know tattva like that. They just automatically, they are Nityasiddha Parikas. Actually, they are Kaya Vyuha of Sri Radhika. They are only concerned with love. But for the conditioned sadhaks, we need to know all the tattvas. So this is what we are learning in Jaiva-Dharma. Very, 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 very solid, strong platform. What is Krishna tattva? First of all, and then this first prameya, this Hari Haram, what's the verse? You haven't been learning it? You're supposed to learn it. Tattvam Harim Iha Paramam. Nobody knows it? I haven't been addressing you all here specifically because I've been thinking about the group. But normally when I go through this just with a live group, I make you learn this verse. So you have it on the tip of your tongue. So this full verse that is showing the 9 prameyas, 9 truths. And then there's 1 praman. This verse is on page 282. but we should become familiar with this verse. Anaya prahat tattvam harim iha paramam. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is so mercifully describing what is Shakti Tattva. What is the nature of Swarup Shakti? What is the nature of Radhika? Krishna, it's described, he does nothing. He's manifested his energy as Radhika, and that energy is the creating element of this world. Everything comes from Swarup Shakti. Everything comes from Swarup Shakti. Baladev comes from Swarup Shakti. No, Krishna doesn't do anything. He's Nirvishesh, like Nirvishesh Brahm, except he has two qualities. He has freedom and he has free will. He has this Svatantrata and he has Svaicha Mayata. He has these two qualities of freedom and free will. This is what Krishna has. He inspires the desire. Swarup Shakti just wants to serve Krishna. So this is all described in detail in the 14th chapter. It's so powerful. And if we read this regularly and we hear these truths regularly, we'll be so inspired to render service to Sri Radhika, because all of our line are proclaiming this Radha Dasyam is the supreme truth. She will illuminate for us who is Krishna. But service to Radhika, why? Because Sri Mahaprabhu was in a mood of Radhika. Krishna himself so much wanted to become connected with Radhika, he takes her own Bhavan Kanti. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritiya Hladini Shakti Asmat Ekatmanava Pivuan Deha Bedam Kroto Chaitanyayakam Prakatam Aduna Tadvayam Chekamatam Radha Bhav Dudi Savalitam Nomi Krishna Sarupam. This is who is Mahaprabhu. So what is Mahaprabhu giving to us? He's giving us the inspiration to serve Sri Radhika. All of our line, they're all manjaris. Rupa Manjari, Sanatan Goswami Lavanga Manjari, Jiva Goswami Vilasa Manjari, Krishnadas Kaviraj Kasturi Manjari, Narottam Vilas Manjari also, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Vinod Manjari, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself Kamala Manjari. All service to Radhika. And this Radhika is the Swarup Shakti. She is the Shakti of Krishna. And if we think of the example all the time like the sun is the source of the energy, of the heat. It starts from the sun. That's the origin. And that's Krishna. And then from that source is emanating the Shakti. And that Shakti is creating everything. It's creating all the worlds. So we've been discussing this Jiva Tattva in particular, how the seed is impregnated, inspired by Mahavishnu glancing towards Mahamaya, and then it's impregnated into the pradhan, the unconglomerate elements, which become cohesive when the seed is there, and then it becomes prakriti. From the prakriti comes the mahatattva. From the mahatattva comes the panchbhuta, the five main elements, then the five subtle elements, and then the karmindriyas, the gyanindriya elements, these 20 elements, and then the whole 24 elements are manifesting. Then the final element is the jiva. That makes 25 elements. This is what's described. This is the nature of this Jaiva-Dharma. Now, if we read in the third canto, Kapila Dev Sangvad to his mother Devahuti, he's describing exactly the same thing over about 5 or 6 chapters. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur has condensed that same teaching and giving us to us in like sutra form, because he knows how limited the jivas are in this world. Many can't sit and read 18 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam. They just go to sleep. They don't follow it. But this is only 40 short chapters, and this contains all of the descriptions of what's needed. The tattva. Unless we have the solid platform of tattva, we will be disrespectful to the lila. And the lila is the most important. I've said so many times how the tattva is like the horse, And the rider is the lila. The lila is the most important. The lila is like the heart. The tattva is like your brain. You can't get so much bliss in the brain. From the brain, it has to travel to the heart and mix with the Hladini Shakti. The brain is called the Sangvit Shakti is manifesting there, the cognitive energy. It's described also in the chapter 14. That Sangvit Shakti comes first from our Guru Parampara into the consciousness. And then when with realization and practice, then it comes into the heart and it mixes in the heart with the Hladini Shakti. And then bliss is going to come. And then our Shraddha, which is so important. The Shraddha is the first step on this path. And that Shraddha has to be growing every day. It's not that, oh yes, I have faith, leave that behind. No, this Shraddha every single day has to be growing more and more. And then I start to appreciate Krishna's astonishing qualities. When I'm appreciating his qualities with astonishment, this vichitrata, vichitrata, yes, or chamatkar, this astonishment, this I've described this all before, but like a child, you know. So that has to be waking daily in the heart of the jiva to keep that energy moving. This devotion is not static. It's not like, oh, every day I just do the puja, every day jibba jabba, chant some rounds, yes, read some, here's some Hari Guitar. No, we have to be on fire. If you actually want to break out of this conditioned state of consciousness, this illusory world is very, very, very powerful. We're so illusioned thinking I'm the body. Every minute we think I'm the body. I'm hungry, I'm tired, you know, I want something, right? Just the jiva wanting something is symptomatic of material consciousness. So one who does not read Jaiva-Dharma can never attain bhakti. So that's why this is written here. You cannot attain bhakti unless you are inclined to read Jaiva-Dharma. Rupanuga abhiman pate trita hoy, Jaiva-Dharma vimukake dharma hina koi.
Faithfully reading Jaiva-Dharma will surely strengthen one's abhiman as Rupanuga, follower of Sri Rupa Goswami. One who is averse to reading Jaiva-Dharma is certainly devoid of religious principles.
Real religious principles, not dharma, artha, karma, moksha. These purusarthas are not ultimately real religion, because this moksha is the goal. And moksha is just simply about you being liberated from the material suffering. It's not about seva to Krishna. And the only thing that's going to satisfy the heart of the jiva, yeyatma suprasidati, is when he's performing seva directly to Krishna. That's sambandha gyan. That's when his relationship will be very fixed and so much joyful. It's described that Sandra Ananda Visheshatma. What is the meaning of Sandra Ananda? Sandra Ananda means nothing else can enter except Ananda. That's the condition of prem. We have these sadhan bhakti, bhav bhakti, prem bhakti. Kleshagni, shubhada. This is sadhan bhakti. Then mokshulukharta krit sudurlabha. This is bhav bhakti. And then Sri Krishna Akashana Chasa Sandra Ananda Visheshatma. Is that right? Sandra Ananda Visheshatma. So this Sandra Ananda is the position of prem, when nothing else can enter except Anand. That's pretty nice thought. Nothing else can come in. Only Ananda can come in. So that Amala Prem Seva is waiting for us. If we simply perform the sadhan in a focused mood, our whole lives, we don't have time. We've already wasted so many years in childhood, perhaps away from Krishna. Now we have to become very serious and sober. And a follower of Rupa Goswami, everything goes back to our Guru Parampara. This is our lifeline, like our umbilical cord. When a child is born, he has the umbilical cord. Our Guru Parampara is just like the umbilical cord. It's connecting us to the Supreme. And we go through Guru. Guru is the representation of all the previous acharyas. All the acharyas are in a single Guru. His Guru and his Guru and his Guru. This is why all the Gurus are very careful to illuminate and illustrate who is their Guru and who was their Guru. It's the genealogical tables. These genealogical tables are also in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to know the path. If the path is not clear, it's like, for example, many religions, they like Muhammad, for example, who was his guru and who was his guru and who was his guru. It's not described clearly. It's all like hazy, you know? But this path is absolutely, this should give us great confidence. This Shraddha Vishvasa, this confidence is what's needed for the faith to be strong. Yava jivane je pade Jaiva-Dharma bhakti man se jana vrita jnana karma.
One who faithfully reads Jaiva-Dharma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of Gyan and Karma.
Gyan, Bhakti Devi, is not controlled or not accessed with karma and Gyan. You can't reach bhakti by knowledge. You need knowledge to enter the lila. You must have some knowledge, of course. Vidya must be there to purify the avidya. So knowledge must be there, but knowledge by itself will not give you bhakti. Knowledge by itself will give you what? Moksha. Will take you to mukti. A jnani bhakta, what is his goal? Mukti. And a karmi, what is his goal? It's fruitive results, material wealth, artha. This is the goal. So here, anlyabilasita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. This jnana and karmadi are not uttam bhakti, these paths. We even hear the story, beautiful story of Dhruva Maharaj in the Bhagavatam. Dhruva Maharaj is described like a sakam bhakta. He had a material motive for worshipping Krishna. But as soon as he saw Krishna, what did he think? Oh my God, why did I worship Krishna for this? And when he leaves the forest, he's unhappy because he did this worship to achieve a material result. But as soon as he saw the Lord, he said, I was looking for broken glass. I was not looking for the pure devotion. But now I've seen you, I only want this. You see? How beautiful is the Bhagavatam describing, don't go the path of karma. Don't go the path of Gyan. Gyan and Vairagya are like the two sons of Bhakti Devi. But they can't give you Bhakti herself. Swarup, this Arope Siddha Bhakti and Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Arope Siddha Bhakti is also not pure, it's not Uttam Bhakti. It's this Swarup Siddha Bhakti. We have to read this book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And the Bindu is the most easy to read, one by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Rupa Goswami wrote the Sindhu. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is writing the Bindu. The drop from the Sindhu. Sindhu means ocean, but taking the drop from the ocean into the Bindu to read. It's only a small book. I have copies here. We can talk afterwards. Anyway, this is very important to understand this verse completely. And then you will know what is Uttam Bhakti. And once you know the goal, you can go toward it. If you don't know the goal properly, if it's not clear, if the Tattva Siddhanta is not clear, how can you go in 4th, 5th, 6th gear? You're struggling. You're just going along in 1st gear, 2nd gear, because you're afraid to go fast because you're not sure. You're not quite sure of the journey. And there are many potholes. We have to be in sadhu sangha. Krishna Ramala Seva Lavi Seva Seva Sukha Magnaraya Shada Krishna Para.
Such a man, being fully devoted to Shri Radha Krishna Yugal Kishore and having attained their Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate loving service.
This is the conclusion of the Falshruti, that we can reach this place of Amala Prem Seva. And then we have to inquire, what is that Amala Prem Seva? So that's the next teaching. So now yesterday we discussed about the material elements manifesting from the Mahatattva and giving the covering of the jiva of ahankar. And it was described that there are 24 material elements. And then we see at the bottom of page, where is it? 371, is it? 370. No. 369. I'm just going to read here from 369, the last paragraph, and then we'll go to the rest of it. This is a recap for yesterday. So we're starting from 369, the last paragraph here. Do you speak good English, Prabhu?
Yes.
You do?
Understand.
Okay. There are 24 elements of Maya. 24 elements of Maya. Make it clear in stone. The 5 gross elements, Mahabhutas, namely earth, water, fire, air, and space. Okay? Very clear. And 5 sense objects. These are the subtle aspects of the gross elements. And this is smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. So it's going up here. Sound is related to space. Smell is related to earth. So it's a gradation that way. Smell, taste, form, touch, and sound. These are the, first of all, the 5 and another 5. The 5 senses for acquiring knowledge. The 5 working senses. So the 5 senses for acquiring knowledge are what? The eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the sense of touch. This is acquiring knowledge. And then the 5 working senses. So the working senses are the speech, hands, feet, anus, and genital. These are the working senses. That makes 20 altogether so far. 5 bhutas, then the subtle ones, then the working senses, and then the acquiring senses. That makes 20. And then the 5 working senses. Then mind, intelligence, chitta, and ahankar. You asked about chitta yesterday, and it's described in the glossary. It's not an easy thing to, but it's what I said to you was clear yesterday. It's the very place of initiating a thought. It's where it comes from. It's like the very heart root of consciousness. It's the beginning, the chitta. It's the first. It comes before the mind, intelligence, and false ego. That's the chitta. And we can't understand it, but we can pray. And if you want to understand it, you just have to think about it more. And you have to ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next time you go to the yoga pit, please let this understanding of chitta come into my heart. And you have to go. I can remember personally for many years, I was trying to, what is chitta? What is chitta? And then I was trying to understand, what is Sandhini Shakti? What is this Sangvit Shakti? What does it look like? What is this Hladini Shakti? I was asking again and again in my mind and reading all different parts. And gradually, an appreciation comes. We never know what it is because we're so tiny, but we can appreciate it more each day. Each day, we can appreciate this more. If we're not going forward, we should be becoming very unhappy. If I'm not feeling, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati used to say, at the end of the day, you should lie on your bed and you should look up in your mind, what have you accomplished in the path of bhakti today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be able to count down what has manifested today in my consciousness in regards to my devotional practice. And if I see I was just full of material engagements, then I should be very angry with myself and not let it happen the next day. And this is how we journey on. We make so many mistakes all the time, but mistakes are good because we have a chance to pick ourselves up and again begin and again begin.
How to go like really faster.
Chant more. Chant more. Chant more. 16 rounds will just keep you afloat. 32 rounds, you will feel like a respectable devotee. 48 rounds, you'll feel serious. Now something's happening. 64 rounds, now all mental things have gone away. Now I'm clear and like on a rocket. You can chant 64 rounds easily if you get up early. Getting up early means you go to bed early. You have to get a certain amount of sleep. You cannot take away your sleep, otherwise you'd be like a zombie. You have to have a certain amount of sleep. So you personally, individually, have to organize your time so that you can get enough rest.
How to do this, like this 64 not in a mechanic way, like really to feel like this 64 rounds were like
Gradually it will happen. If you just practice it even mechanically to begin with, Krishna will see your sincerity. He will see, oh, this boy is trying to chant 64. Let me give him kripa. You can't do anything. None of us can. We are all waiting for kripa, for mercy. If Krishna sees, oh, he's trying to increase his chanting, and our chanting, we will come to the Nam Tattva chapters. We don't want it to be robotic. Personally, sometimes I take my counter mala off, the counter numbers, I take it off and just chant like that. The same amount of time, but without the counting beads. You can do like, but the point is to immerse ourselves at least 6 or 7 or 5 hours a day. And it's not difficult to really do if you really want to do it. I remember when I first began chanting a lot, I was in Vrindavan temple and I had so much seva. I was dressing Prabhupada in the Samadhi and Krishna and Balaram on the altar and in working in Gurukul doing so. And as soon as I started chanting, one man came to me and said, oh, please, I really want to dress Prabhupada in the Samadhi. I said, okay, you do. And then after a few weeks, another devotee came and said, oh, I really, really want to dress Krishna and Balaram. So I gave that seva also. So all the sevas by themselves, by the power of Nam. If you really want to chant Nam, really, not joking around, not doing it for any other reason except to increase your bhakti, Nam himself will come and arrange your schedule so you can do it very easily and do all your required sevas also. It makes the mind very sober because it takes away the shiningness of the illusory energy. What it does, it reduces your material desires. Say you sit down to chant, and I remember hearing one devotee saying, oh, what comes into your mind while you're chanting, oh, I have to do this today, I have to do this today, I have to do this, write it down, and then you can put it away. I have to go here, so write it down, put it by your side. At the end of your chanting, you look at the list and think, actually, I don't have to do any of those things. They all become secondary. Because what is our purpose in life except to wake up devotion, to wake up bhakti, my devotion to Krishna. This is the only person, the only focus is that. Understand?
I have a question, commentary. I heard if someone doesn't have adhikar, chant
Krishna will give the adhikar.
because for beginning folks.
Yes.
For some who begin, for example,
I've had many japa retreats in the past.
It's possible.
And I've had brand new people come for a week. And at the end of a week, they've been chanting 1 lakh Nam. they were brand new and they've chanted 1 lakh for maybe 1 or 2 days. Maybe they won't do it consistently, but at least they've had a sanskar of that. They've had an impression of that. So when we talk like that, it's like you're throwing up an obstacle. No, just be a madman. You know, when they broke the sound barrier in flying the planes, the speed of sound when they were flying in these very fast jets. So every time they began to approach the speed of sound, the plane started to vibrate and the pilots would pull back. But one pilot was crazy. And when the plane started to vibrate, he just put his foot down more and boom, and then all of a sudden it was smooth. So it needs courage.
Once I heard in Vrindavan that when you are acting like I'm unable, I'm not qualified like this, means you want to keep taking thousands and thousands of birds and you want to keep doing your sense enjoyment. When you consider yourself like all the time, I cannot, I'm unqualified, means you don't want.
Means you are
really
unqualified. Yes, exactly. We've been talking about this in Jaiva-Dharma all the time. Taking responsibility for yourself. The key to the whole process is in your hands. You decide what you want to do. You make up your own mind. The keys are with us. We have to take responsibility. We have to come here. Okay? So now we've got 20 elements so far, the 5 Mahabhutas, and then the sense objects, and then the acquiring knowledge, working senses, and then the 4 subtle, mind, intelligence, chitta, and hankar. That makes 24. These are the 24 elements of material nature. The atomic conscious jiva who enters into the body made of 24 elements. These 24 elements were manifested through the pradhan, manifested as the mahatattva, and then they're manifesting as these elements. Understand the progression. 24 elements is the atomic conscious jiva who enters into the body made of 24 elements is the 25th element, and Paramatma Ishvara is the 26th. So Paramatma Ishvara will enter also. So that makes 26 elements. Okay? That's the conclusion of what we did yesterday. That's basically the whole picture was in that last paragraph. Now, please tell me how much of the human, and then we read all this yesterday about the actual place of the, please tell me how much of the human body whose size is 3.5 cubits, 7 spans, is occupied by the subtle cover, and how much by the gross cover, and in which part of the body does the conscious jiva reside? Remember, we read this yesterday. I'm going to refresh and read it again. I'll just read it straight through. The 5 gross elements, the 5 sense objects, pancha tanmatra, and the 10 senses altogether comprise the gross body. The 4 elements, mind, intelligence, chitta, and ahankar, form the subtle body or the linga sarira. We've just discussed that. The conscious jiva is the one who falsely relates to the body and objects related to the body as I and mine, and due to that misidentification has forgotten his true nature. All right, he's relating to this material body, these material elements. He is extremely subtle and beyond mundane space, time, and qualities. His real nature is so subtle. It's described as 1/100th size the tip of a hair. The tip of a hair, right? You take it, divide it into 100. Huh?
1,000.
1,000 parts. And that's the size. In other words, it's so subtle you can't see it. But still, it's a particle of consciousness. In spite of being very subtle, he pervades the entire body, just as the pleasurable effect of a minute drop of Harichandan Bindu spreads all over the body when it is applied in one part. So the atomic jiva too is the knower, Kshetra Gyan of the whole body and the experience of its pains and pleasures. So this analogy of a drop of Harichandan can come in the whole body. It's like, I think we have Vicks vapor rub is more common in the Western world. You put on the chest and it goes through the whole body, right? So just in one tiny spot, it can come in the whole body. This is the nature. He asked, where does the soul reside? So it's a tiny particle, but it's pervading every part of the conscious. What is the symptom of the soul? It's consciousness. That is the symptom of the soul. The symptom of the soul is consciousness. Consciousness pervades every part of the body. Any part of the body you can cut and you feel pain. So all the body is conscious. What's the distinction between a dead body and a live body? One has consciousness and one doesn't have consciousness, right? So consciousness is the symptom of the soul. If the jiva performs karma and experiences pains and pleasures, where is the question of Ishvara's active involvement? I don't understand that question. If the jiva performs karma, activities, and experiences pains and pleasures, where is the question of Ishvara's active involvement? Yes, so is it just the jiva, separate from Krishna, that is enjoying the pleasures and pains? Where is Krishna in the ingredients? Krishna is Paramatma, we've already discussed, but he's asking it explicitly now. Do you understand the question? You understand the question? Read it again, read it out loud, slowly, carefully, with understanding.
If the jiva performs karma and experiences pain and pleasures, where is the question of Ishvara's active involvement?
Now do you understand? Where is the question of Ishvara? It's the jiva, because of his karma, that he's experiencing these things, like Mimamsa. Mimamsa doesn't believe in Ishvara. So
But,
the jiva's thinking,
Ishvara is just a witness, no knowledge.
Ishvara is God. Ishvara means God. It doesn't say Paramatma, Prabhu. It says Ishvara. It's talking of, listen, you have to be very explicit with the terminologies. If it says Paramatma, it means Paramatma. This is saying Ishvara. So Ishvara is represented as Paramatma. But still, when it says Ishvara, it means Ishvara, the Lord of the world. It means everything.
He doesn't come in our way of independence, right?
No, he doesn't affect our independence.
So karma is our independence.
To perform the karma, but the result of the karma is not in our hand. Man proposes, God disposes.
That's what he says. If the jiva performs karma, is specific about karma, not about.
Yes, if he performs karma, where is Ishvara? Listen to the answer first, and then you'll understand it. You read the answer.
Jiva is the instrumental cause.
What's that mean?
Naimitic.
What's it mean? Tell me in English.
Instrument is just an instrument.
Yes.
He doesn't perform.
Okay,
action.
jiva is the instrumental cause. Go on.
And when he performs karma, Ishvara acts as the efficient cause and arranges for the fruits of the karma that the jiva is eligible.
That's what I just said to you. Man proposes, God disposes. Same thing. Okay, keep reading.
Is eligible to enjoy. Ishvara also arranges for the future karma for which the jiva has become eligible.
Yes, is that clear? That's aparabdha karma. Okay.
In short, Ishvara awards fruit while the jiva enjoys them.
Right? Very simple. Keep reading.
How many types of baddha jivas are there? Prajanath.
What's that mean?
Which are bound by Maya. How many types of baddha jivas are there?
Yes. Baddha jivas means the stages of consciousness. That's what's going to be described. Achadita Chaitana, Sankolija Chaitana, Punaji. Yes, this is what is going to be described now. Okay, keep reading.
Babaji, there are 5 kinds, namely those whose consciousness is completely covered. Achadita Chaitana.
Now you should learn these terms. Every time you look at a tree, Chaitana means consciousness. You should think this tree is Achadita Chaitana, covered consciousness. Sometimes devotees can even talk to trees. Many people can talk to trees. I talk to trees sometimes. They're very boring to talk to. They just talk about the weather. Last summer was warm. This summer's not enough rain. That's all they talk about. That's the degree of their consciousness, because their consciousness is not very mature. It's very dull. That's why when it chops, you don't hear it screaming. you know, they're very patient like that, but it still has consciousness. Because why? Because these 5, 6 symptoms of consciousness are there, which is birth, growth, reproduction, dwindling, old age, and death. These are all within any spirit soul. So a tree has all these 5, right? But still, its level of consciousness is extremely dull. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur here is describing 5 levels of consciousness. It's fascinating. You should all write down in your notebooks these 5 levels of consciousness, and you should learn them. You should know what these 5 levels of consciousness are.
Once I read in a book that this actually Chetan refers to body living entities who are in unmovable bodies like trees. But my question is also maybe in a river, mountain, stone, are souls in there? Like in this type of consciousness?
Yes. Achadita Chaitanya also is like stones.
Stones also.
Many jivas reside in the form of stones. Sometimes mountains, though, have a higher consciousness than trees. Previously ages, mountains would fly, but Indra cut their wings off. But mountains like Giriraj, Govardhan, Dronachal, his father, etc., Himalaya, these are great mountains with great consciousness. Even Parvati is born from the mountains in the Himalaya. They have great consciousness, so it's higher than trees.
Jesus.
It'll be described. Don't jump ahead. There's going to be 5. Wait, everything is answered.
But this is same category.
Yes, it'll be described. We'll see. Go ahead.
Achadita Chetana, those whose consciousness is shrunken or contracted. Sankuchita Chetana, those whose consciousness...
Read it slowly. So we've had 2. Achadita Chetana.
Completely covered.
Completely covered. Next one.
Those whose consciousness is shrunken or contracted is called Sankuchita Chetana.
Yes. Now, third one.
Those whose consciousness is budding slightly.
That means opening.
Mukulita.
Yes. Mukulita Chetana. This is the third one. Actually, this is the first of the humans. This is like the tribal men. People like this. They're very dull. But their consciousness is higher than a tree or an animal. In this shrunken or contracted, these are animals. The horse or the cow can't discuss philosophy. The dog, the cat, they can't. But they are mobile. So they're higher than Achadita Chetana. Achadita Chetana. They're higher than Achadita Chetana. And they're called Sankuchita Chetana. Okay?
Those with developed consciousness, Vikasita Chetana.
Yes, that's the 4th stage. Now, this is perhaps where we are. Our consciousness is developed to such a point where we can inquire about consciousness. Okay?
And those with fully developed consciousness, Purna Vikasita Chetana.
Purna. Purna means full. Purna Vikashita Chetana. Now, all of these are described very clearly in the introduction by Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. You should know this. I'm just going to try and find you the page. Do you know the page? Anybody? Anybody read the introduction?
Uh, 11.
11. Good boy.
Oh, no, sorry, it is 18, 19.
Which page?
This is in the 20.
Huh?
20 page?
20.
Last paragraph.
20?
Last paragraph. It's in Roman 20.
Yes, I'm looking. So this is a good explanation here by Srila Bhakti Pragyan. Yes, on page XX 20. In the 16th chapter of this book, there is a minute analysis consistent with modern science of the systematic development of consciousness. Conscious beings who are bound by illusion are found in 5 conditions. Fascinating. These are conscious jivas in 5 conditions. Achadita Chetana, covered consciousness. Sankuchita Chetana, stunted consciousness. Mukulita Chetana, budding consciousness. And Vikashita Chetana, blossoming consciousness. And Purna Vikashita Chetana, fully blossomed. Such conscious beings are known as jivas or prani. These 5 stages of living beings are divided into 2 categories: non-moving entities, stavara, and moving entities. Okay, that's just another reference. Okay, carry on reading. Rajanath.
Which jivas have completely covered consciousness? Babaji. These are jivas with the bodies of trees, creepers, grass, stone, and so on.
That's answer to your question. Prabhu,
Yes.
answer to your question.
Who have forgotten.
By the way, many times we have a question in Jaiva-Dharma, and you just keep reading another 2 paragraphs, and there's the answer. So many, hundreds of times I found the same thing. Just be patient and keep reading, and the answer is there. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is ahead of us. He knows what we're going to ask.
Who have forgotten service to Krishna and are so engrossed in the material qualities of Maya that they no longer appear to be sentient. There is
Sentient nature.
sentient.
Yes.
There is only a slight indication of their sentience through the 6 transformations.
Mhm.
This is the lowest stage of the jiva's fall.
Yes, so I just described those transformations: birth, death, etc., old age, all of these, growth, reproduction.
And this fact is corroborated by the epic stories of Ahalya, Yamalarjuna, and Saptatala. One only reaches this stage because of some grave offense, and one can only be delivered from it by Krishna's mercy.
So we'll discuss this probably tomorrow. We'll describe those 3 personalities: Ahalya, Yamal Arjun, and the Saptatal. That's described in the footnote at the end. Okay, keep reading.
Brajanath, which jivas have contracted consciousness?
So that's the 2nd stage now. Sankuchita Tejana.
Beast, birds, snakes, fish, aquatics, mosquitoes, and various similar creatures have shrunken or contracted consciousness. The consciousness of these jiva is apparent to some degree, unlike that of jivas in the previous group,
Yeah, the
whose
previous group is what? Achadita Chetana.
completely
Their consciousness is totally stunted. They can't even move.
consciousness is completely covered.
By hearing this, your whole vision of the world can change. You're walking around now, and everywhere you're seeing consciousness. It's like appreciating the Virat Rupa that is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Your appreciation for Paramatma residing in all the bodies of all the trees, residing even in the stones, etc. Krishna is everywhere. And now, through this understanding of Siddhanta, we understand the presence of Krishna everywhere. This is very supportive for our journey. We don't lose contact with Krishna at any point. We're totally connected all the time. Nothing in existence is separate from Krishna. Nothing in existence. Okay, keep going.
For example, these jivas perform activities such as eating, sleeping, free movement, and quarreling with others for things that they consider their property. They also show fear, and they become angry when they see injustice.
So this is like fallen jivas of the higher stages also acting on the animal platform rather than acting on a human platform.
However, they have no knowledge of the spiritual world. Even monkeys have some scientific understanding in their mischievous minds, for they have some idea of what will or will not happen in the future, and they also have the quality of being grateful. So, animals have good knowledge about various objects too, but despite all these attributes, they do not have a propensity for inquiring about Bhagavan.
That's the main thing. Yes.
So, their consciousness is contracted. It is said in Shastra that Maharaj Bharata still had knowledge of the name of Bhagavan even while he was in the body of a deer. But it is unusual it only happens in special cases.
Mm.
Bharat and King Nriga had to take birth as animals because of their offenses, and they were delivered when their offense was nullified by Bhagavan's mercy.
Okay, we should stop there now. Is our time. We'll complete tomorrow. But this is an introduction to the 5 types of consciousness, which are really instructive to have in our pockets at all times. This is why I say we should learn this. We should write it down in our notebooks carefully. If you don't write these things down, you will not remember them. I promise you. You won't remember. Because hearing is one opportunity, writing is another, and the third most powerful one is to speak it. When you speak it, then you'll remember it. But in Kali Yuga brain, I'll ask you all tomorrow, what are the 5 types of consciousness? Let me see if you can remember. I'm going to ask you. Especially you two, brahmacharis. Brahmachari is supposed to be leading the road. So definitely I will ask you both. Maybe they won't come tomorrow. Because they will have gone into Acharya Chaitanya.
Tomorrow I cannot come because I have
You see,
appointment.
you see, already.
But I will come in the
You
next
can
day
send
if
in, you can send me. You can whisper in his ear the 5 types. He will do for you. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Vaishnavas ki jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gopremanandi, Vanshakalpatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhaveva cha, Patitanam Pavnivyo, Vaishnavevyo Namaha.